Really quickly, Chris McGill, Vice President of Policy and Planning, something for Managing Director. I'm going to give him a raise and a promotion. And Roger Cooper, EVP of Policy and Planning, are going to speak to us this morning about winter prices, what customers can expect, and what Congress can do to keep rates low. Chris.
Good morning. My wife goes through a ritual every morning getting herself ready to come to work, and it leaves me some time at about 6 o'clock in the morning to take my cup of coffee and walk outside and walk around the neighborhood a little bit before she's ready and has two-thirds of her possessions with her as she goes to work. There's a chill in the air. It's kind of cool this morning. That's something that obviously impacts our core membership, natural gas, local utilities. They plan all year to meet the coming winter heating season, this period of peak demand. And, of course, tomorrow, the Energy Information Administration will announce their view of the winter fuels outlook. And rather than repeat what EIA does, we are here today and have been the last several years to talk to you about the short-term natural gas market and some longer-term issues that Roger is going to talk about after I've said my piece, and give you a chance to then ask us questions about our view of the market and what we see going forward in the short term and the longer term. Dan? Oh, there we go. Where do you start with respect to the winter heating season? We always start with weather. Let me remind you, last year, from the October through end of March, March 31st, 2009, last year, we had a winter heating season that was just slightly warmer than normal, about 0.2%. December and January were a little colder. February and March were a little warmer. The eastern portion of the United States was a little colder. The western portion of the United States was a little warmer. I've looked at numerous weather forecasts looking forward to this winter heating season. This was from mid-September for December, January, and February from the National Weather Service. And as you can see, they show an above average probability of higher than normal temperatures for a large portion of the country, particularly out west and in the Midwest, and some probability for lower than normal temperatures in the southeast. Now, I have to say I've also seen other private weather forecasts that look terribly different from this. I've also seen forecasts for warmer conditions early in the winter heating season, colder later in the winter heating season. So it's a jump ball. We're not predicting what the weather is going to be. That is a key issue. But this leads us to another element of trying to look at the winter heating season. And again, I'm going to take you back to October of last year when the EIA did their winter heating season outlook. Now, EIA, the Energy Information Administration, does us a great service in doing this. And I just want to show you that the baseline forecast last year going into the winter heating season and remembering those very high prices that we experienced during 2008, particularly during the winter, their baseline forecast was for consumers, natural gas consumers, to see bills that were on average about 18% higher than they had been the previous year. Actually, by the time we got to March and they were making the same forecast with a little bit of backcast, having some real data, the expectation was almost the same as it had been the prior year, only 1% different. Now, that's not an indictment on EIA at all. That reminds us that things change, and they change in a very, very quick way. Last year, it wasn't necessarily just weather, but we had an economy that was changing. We were seeing changes in consumption of natural gas, and compared to the relative supply of natural gas that we had coming out of 2008, prices actually continued to fall through the winter heating season rather than be impacted by that seasonal demand. So there's always something, and I'm not prepared to predict exactly what that might be this year, but whatever our expectations are after the Energy Information Administration releases their numbers tomorrow, I'd just like to talk a little bit about the short-term market and also, as I said, let Roger have a view of some of the longer-term issues too, and put some things out there, and hopefully you can discuss those with us. Let's look at natural gas supply. This is a chart of daily supply from Bentech Energy that goes back to January 1st of 2007. Now, if you look at that graphic, and most of us in this room, I assume, are aware of the fact that we've seen growing natural gas production in this country over the last couple of years. This graphic clearly shows it. It shows the little bit of hurricane activity that we had in 2008. But it also shows that by June of 2006, that production growth had flattened out. And if you look at the data, again, using Bentech as a source, or the average daily production of natural gas in the country in September was about 1 BCF per day less than it was in July of 2009. So that component of our supply has flattened out. And there are some expectations that we'll continue to see some decline in productive capacity in the country given our current drilling investment, the level of rigs, and given prices. It's actually a perfectly rational thing for the market to adjust itself on the supply side when you have declines in demand, as we have seen in 2009. So what the magnitude of the future is through this winter heating season with either the flattening or some additional decline in natural gas production remains to be seen. But you can also see that we're getting a little less gas from Canada and just a small amount, about 1 BCF per day, in the form of LNG. Let's remember also that our companies have been storing gas over this past summer. And, of course, there are peaking facilities, propane air and LNG peaking facilities to meet critical winter heating season demand. So there are many tools out there for the companies to use. And overall, the supply picture is very, very strong right now. Demand. The one difference, obviously, that we see in sector demand compared to supply, which tends to be supply regular on a day-by-day basis, is that demand is very seasonal, and it can be very peaky. Our companies, serving your needs and other residential customer needs, need to meet each one of those little spikes that we see during the winter heating season. And as you can see also, they can happen in just a few days. So they are preparing themselves through their gas supply portfolio building process to meet each one of those peaks and to serve all of their customers physically and otherwise. You can see the seasonality of the winter heating season, residential and small commercial load. If you look carefully, you can see some differences in the industrial demand, the blue curve in this graphic. And you can also see the seasonality of electric power demands for natural gas also. The other critical short